Hello and welcome, and today I'm going to provide you with the explanation of the poem Tithonus by Alfred Tennyson. Now, before I would not like to go into the details, and I would not like to make this video a very lengthy video, but just keeping it short and precise by covering all the important points which you should definitely know before appearing for your examination. Before delving into the explanation, line by line and word to word explanation, I would like to give you a brief background about what this poem is about and the characters. So here we can see that the title of the poem Tithonus, it is based upon a prince of Troy, Tithonus, who was extremely good looking, charming, and he was very handsome. And on the other hand, we have a goddess. She is the representative of the immortal world in the poem. She is Aurora or Eos. She has been represented by two names. You don't have to get confused because Aurora is the Roman name and Eos is the Greek name. When she happens to see Tithonus, she is so head over heels in love with him. And Tithonus, when he gets to know that a goddess was in love with him, he gets consumed by the feeling, by the sense of vanity, by the sense of arrogance, and he also wants to spend the rest of his life with Aurora. But for the matter of fact, he also knows very well that he will not be able to stay alive till eternity because he is a human being and human beings have the power to die. But he did not want that fate for himself. He wanted to spend the rest of his forever with Aurora because he was so deeply in love with her, and also for the matter of fact, because she was a goddess and he was completely enamored, he was completely spellbound by the fact that a goddess was in love with him. So he asks for a blessing, which was the blessing of immortality. Because he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her, and Aurora, because she was also equally in love with Tithonus at that point of time, that she very carelessly grants that blessing to him. Why carelessly? Because in an attempt to grant him immortality, she forgets to grant him the blessing of immortal youth. Now, through this, what happens is that he is able to only live forever, but not remain young forever. He does have the power to age, and he keeps on aging. He is only able to enjoy his heydays and young days, youthful days with Aurora, but slowly and steadily, just like human beings, their bodies, we start to get old after a specific juncture, after a specific point of time. He also, his body begins to wither away, and he reaches at one stage, at one point of time, where that immortality becomes a curse for him. From a blessing, it gets converted into a curse, and now he no longer wants to enjoy his life with Aurora because Aurora is forever beautiful and young. And on the other hand, we have Tithonus, whose body, he slowly and steadily begins to disintegrate and wither away with age, and he does not want to live that life anymore. He wants to die because now he's getting wasted. Now he is no longer young now. So now he wants Aurora to take back her blessing. But the tragedy is that even gods, they cannot claim their blessing back. Okay, they can only bless a person, but they cannot take that blessing back. And so Tithonus is left with a very withered life and a very cursed life. So this is a brief background information about this entire poem. And now I would like to start with the explanation, the line by line explanation. Now, when I cover a particular piece of poetry, I always make sure that I go very slow stanza wise because each and every stanza is covering one aspect of the poem. So when we look at the first stanza, here Tithonus, he sounds very dejected. He sounds very gloomy. He sounds very sullen because he compares his life to the elements of nature. He is comparing, he says that, look at me. I am only withering away and I'm not dying. Okay, that I am being crushed by the cruel immortality. But you look at the elements of nature, even the woods can decay, and even the vapors, when they get saturated, they weep their burden to the ground. And even man, human beings, other human beings, except for him, other human beings, they come, they take birth, they work in the field, and after a particular point of time, when they complete their time period on earth, in this world, they get buried under the same soil. But then he says, but look at me, I am not able to die, I'm only withering away. So in the first stanza, you have to be very certain, I'm writing it over here, that this is a contrast. This is how he's comparing his life to nature. This is the first and foremost point which you have to remember, which is prevalent in the first stanza, how he's comparing his life to nature, and then I will keep on telling you the points over here. So the first line, the woods decay and fall. So woods means the forest, the trees, even the woods, after a particular point of time, they decay and they fall down. Okay, the vapors weep their burthen to the ground. Burthen here refers to burden. Okay, and when the after the evaporation process, when the vapors, when after the condensation, when the vapors they get saturated, the clouds they weep their burden to the ground when they can't hold that burden anymore. Okay, so that even the vapors they weep their burden to the ground when they cannot hold it anymore. Number two, the first point was woods decay. Second point was vapors weeping their burden to the ground. And third is man comes and tills the field and lies beneath. And now he talks about other human beings, that even man takes birth and comes and works in the field and then lies beneath and gets buried beneath the same field. And after many a summer dies the swan. It was believed that a swan is able to enjoy many summers before its death. So here, how he's comparing his life to four entities. The first one is woods, second is vapor, third is man, and fourth is swan. After giving these four points, he then comes to himself. He says, me, only cruel immortality. He says, but I am being tormented and tortured by the cruel immortality, consumed by it. I wither slowly in thy arms. Wither means to get wasted away. Okay. In thine arms. Who is this thine? Thine means Aurora. I am completely getting wasted away in your arms. Here at the quiet limit of the world, a white haired shadow roaming like a dream. In the quiet limit of the world, in the far off spaces of the world, what am I doing? Now he's comparing himself to a white haired shadow. Why white hair? Because he's growing very old, obviously. A shadow. He then compares himself to a ghastly creature. Like, when we speak out the word ghost, what can we imagine of? Our mind, it gives us the picture of a shadow. Okay, so he has a very ghastly image of himself in his mind. So, white haired shadow roaming like a dream. Like, again, there is a simile here. Okay, he's comparing himself to a dream. A dream is something which is abstract. Okay, it comes in our mind. It comes during our sleep. We can't touch it. Okay, it's a completely abstract idea. We can't touch it. So it's like he compares himself to a dream, a white haired shadow roaming like a dream. Very important line. The ever silent spaces of the east. And where am I roaming? He says, I am roaming in the ever silent spaces of the east. Why east? Because the sun rises from the east and sets in the west. So from the east, who comes? Aurora comes. So he waits desperately for Aurora to come every morning. In which direction? In east. Far folded mists and gleaming halls of morn, misty mornings and gleaming. Gleaming means shining. Halls of morn. Morn means morning. Again, the early morning time, the dawn time when aurora comes and brightens up the complete sky. So, like I told you, like in the first stanza, we can see that how he compares his life to the elements of nature. The first 4 points: the woods decay, the vapors weep, man comes and tills the field, and after many a summer dies the swan. But then he says, but look at me, I am the unlucky one. I don't have the power to die. I'm only getting consumed and I'm only getting withered away in your arms. Okay, here at the quiet, where is he getting withered away? In the quiet limits of the world and in the ever silent spaces of the east. Very important line, that he compares himself to a white haired shadow and to a dream as well, using a simile because we have the word like. That was the first stanza. I hope that the first stanza was all clear. Now, in the second stanza, we see that how second stanza is, yeah. So this is the second stanza, and here he says, alas, for this grey shadow once a man. Now, here he's being a little nostalgic in the second stanza. I hope you know the meaning of the word nostalgia. When we remember about good old days, that is what we called as nostalgia, or reminiscing about the past old days, the good old days. So he now is remembering his good old days, that once I was such a charming human being, I was such a handsome man, and look at me now. I am completely withered, I'm completely wasted. Alas, for this grey shadow. Who is this grey shadow? He himself. He says, once a man, I once was a man, so glorious in his beauty and thy choice. I was so beautiful, I was so good looking, I was so charming, and I was your choice. So he is directly speaking to Aurora. One more point at this juncture, which I was forgetting, that this poem is a dramatic monologue. I'll write it over here. That I'll just write it over here. That this is also a dramatic monologue. Now, what is a dramatic monologue? A dramatic monologue is a poem in which there is only one speaker, okay, throughout. Like from the beginning till the very end, we have this is a dramatic, dramatic monologue. Like we, what is dramatic monologue? This can come in the multiple choice questions. That what is this? Okay, so this is a dramatic monologue. I told you the meaning of the word dramatic monologue very well, that when there is only one speaker present. Okay, so one speaker right from the beginning till the very end, we have no other speakers. So entire poem being narrated by only one character, by one person, that is called as dramatic monologue. Okay, now how did I get reminded of this? Through this line where it says, I was your choice. So he's speaking to Aurora. He is the only speaker present over here. And he says, I was your choice. Okay, I was so handsome. I was so good looking. I was so dapper that I was your choice. Okay, you chose me as your partner. So glorious in his beauty and thy choice, who madest him thy chosen, that he seemed to his great heart none other than a god. You chose me, and after you chose me, I had a feeling of being equivalent to God. Okay, because the goddess was in love with me, so I thought that I can easily be compared to a god, and he started comparing himself to a god. Okay, none other than a god. I asked thee, give me immortality. Now, what is he doing over here? He's going back to the past old days, like I told you, nostalgic. Okay, he's remembering his old days, that I was so happy when you chose me. I was so, I was so surprised that first of all he is completely consumed, like I told you, by arrogance, that he starts comparing himself to God. Acha, this question can come in the multiple choice questions, that which particular part of his character does this line reflect? Okay, so when he compares himself to God, obviously he was becoming arrogant. Okay, he was becoming overconfident in himself. Okay, so he became that arrogant that he starts comparing himself to a god. And why, we know very well, because the goddess was in love with him. So he asks for immortality. He says, I ask thee, give me immortality. Then didst thou grant mine, asking with a smile, like wealthy men who care not how they give. And when you heard my request, you gave it to me, just like wealthy men give their request, just like very rich people. Like, very rich people, when just imagine a beggar would come in front of them and ask for some alms, for some money, that rich and wealthy person would just carelessly give it away, because that person has no paucity of money, no dearth of money. So here Aurora, she very carelessly and very, recklessly, she grants him, like, okay, you're asking for it, take it. Okay, so grant me with a smile, like wealthy men who care not how they give, but thy strong hours indignant worked their wills. Now here time has been personified. Okay, time got offended. Okay, so time has been personified, that time felt very bad, time felt humiliated. Okay, so the goddesses of time, they felt humiliated, that how can this person, he being a human being, how can he ask for immortality? Now, when they felt insulted, they decided to punish him. Okay, and how did they punish him? They beat me down and marred and wasted me. Okay, so not beat him down like literally, but they wasted him completely. They gave him immortality, immortal age, but not the immortal youth. Okay, and though they could not end me, let me maimed to dwell in presence of immortal youth. And although they could not kill me because I was granted the blessing of immortality, but they left me maimed to dwell in presence of immortal youth. Maimed again means to get wasted away. To dwell, dwell means live in presence of immortal youth. Again, contrast between immortal age and immortal youth. Immortal age was Tithonus, and immortal youth is Aurora. Immortal age beside immortal youth. Very important line. He was the immortal age. He was only getting older, but he was not dying. Beside immortal youth was Aurora, who could not even die, who could not even get older. So she was immortal youth. Okay. And all I was in ashes, Can thy love, thy beauty make amends, though even now? So now he's requesting her, can your love, can your beauty make amends? Amends means corrections. Can you take your blessing back? Though even now close over us the silver star, thy guide. The silver star here refers to the morning star, which is also known as Venus. Okay, so this morning star, it appears before the onset of the sun. Okay, in the sky. So he says that your silver star is your guide. It comes before you appear in the sky. Okay, though close over us, the silver star, thy guide, shines in those tremulous eyes that filled with tears. He says that your eyes are filled with tears. Tremulous. Tremulous means shaky. See, when our eyes are covered with a little film of tears, it gets a little shaky. Okay, so it gets a little tremulous. So he can see that when he asks for that request, when he asks Aurora to take back that blessing, her eyes are filled with tears. And why are her eyes filled with tears? We know the reason very well, because she can't take back her blessing. Filled with tears to hear me. Let me go, take back thy gift. Just let me go. I want to die. You take back your gift. Why should a man desire in any way to vary from the kindly race of men? Now he's feeling guilty. Now he's feeling remorseful. You can underline and write down that he's having this guilt feeling over here, this remorse feeling over here, that why did I decide to be different from the rest of the human beings? When the rest of the human beings can die, why did I ask for that blessing? Okay, desire in any way to vary. To vary means to be different from the kindly race of men. Human beings are meant to die. Why did I decide to be different? He's angry on himself. He is feeling guilty. He's remorseful, or pass beyond the goal of ordinance. Why did I not want to be ordinary? Why did I want to be extraordinary? Why did I decide to offend the gods? Okay, when gods have decided something for human beings, why did I decide to go beyond that? Where all should pause, as is most meet for all. What is the most meet? Meet means perfect. What is the most appropriate thing for all human beings? That one day they should die. Okay, so why did I decide to be different? I told you, you have to mark that, and you can also write over here that he's having the feeling of guilt, he's having the feeling of remorse. So the second stanza, like I told you, first of all, it starts with the feeling of nostalgia. He looks back into the past days. He says, oh, I was a beautiful man. You fell in love with me. I was your choice. And when you granted me that, I compared myself to God. And now, towards the end of the stanza, he's feeling remorseful. He's feeling guilty that why did I decide to do that? Okay. A soft air, now third stanza. A soft air fans the cloud apart. Soft air fans the cloud apart. That means, who is coming now? Aurora is about to come. Cloud apart, there comes a glimpse of the dark world where I was born. And when there is a little bit of light in the sky, he can see a glimpse, like a look of the dark world where he was born. Once more, the old mysterious glimmer steals. He says, once more, I was waiting for you. I am still waiting for you. And while the dawn, it's like the onset of dawn in the sky. It's about to get bright and beautiful. The sun is about to come. It's dawn. Once again, the darkness of the sky is stolen away by a light of brightness, by a lot of brightness and light. Once more, the old mysterious glimmer, glimmer means shine, steals from thy pure brows and from thy shoulders pure, and bosom beating with a heart renewed. So third stanza is all about the description of Aurora's beauty. Okay, like I'm telling you, the idea associated with every stanza. So this stanza is all about her beauty when she comes with all her grace and beauty in the sky. How does she appear? How does the sky appear like? Okay, so there is this darkness which gets stolen away, and slowly there is a mysterious glimmer that shine from thy pure brows. So he says that from your eyebrows, from your brows, there's a glimmer, there's a shine, and from thy shoulders pure, and bosom beating with a heart renewed. There's a lot of light emanating from your shoulders as well, and bosom beating. Bosom beating means the heart beating with the heart bosom. Your heart is again renewed. You do not get old. You, when you come every morning, it is with a new vigor that you come. It's like you get completely rejuvenated again one more time. Okay, so he says that you come every morning, and every morning it feels that you are completely renewed. You are rejuvenated, you are revamped, you are refashioned, and you come with all your youth and glory, bosom beating with a heart renewed. Thy cheek begins to redden through the gloom. Okay, through the gloom of darkness, what appears? Your red cheeks appear, because she is the goddess of dawn and she has a bright and beautiful appearance. So her cheek begins to redden through the gloom. Thy sweet eyes brighten slowly close to mine. And so he says, I am there waiting for you. I am completely withered and old. I'm waiting for you. And then you appear beside me. Thy sweet eyes brighten close to mine. Ere yet they blind the stars and the wild team. Your eyes have so much of shine that they blind the stars. See, night may, what is there in the sky? Stars. But when dawn appears, the stars begin to fade. Okay, they're still there probably, but they begin to fade, as in they're not visible anymore. So when or she appears, the stars begin to completely blind away, and the wild team which love thee, yearning for thy yoke, arise. And she obviously comes in her chariot, driven by horses. So her horses are waiting for her. Wild team of horses. Okay, this team is the team of horses which love thee. These horses, they love you. They are waiting for you. Yearning for thy yoke, arise and shake the darkness from their loosened manes. And like you must have seen horses that they shake their head, and there's this line of hair on upon their head that is called as a mane. Okay, so when they shake it, okay, so he says that when these horses they shake their mane, even the darkness gets shaken away. Okay, so they shake the darkness away with their loosened manes. That mane is their hair, and beat the twilight into flakes of fire. And the twilight gets beaten into flakes of fire. Suddenly, there's a complete bright sunlit sky. Then, lo, ever thus thou growest beautiful in silence, then before thy answer given departest, and thy tears are on my cheek. So he says that you come like this every morning. So, like this stanza, what was it about? It was all a description of Aurora's beauty, how in all her glory she comes. Okay, so that every point is very important. The point about how the old mysterious glimmer, pure brows, shoulders pure, bosom beating with heart renewed, red cheeks, okay, sweet eyes brighten. These are your keywords. You'll have to remember these keywords if there's a comparison between Tithonus and Aurora, and how she grows beautiful day by day in silence. Then before thy answer given, departest. And he says he has a complaint. Okay, he says, you go away, you depart without giving my answer. I'm asking for something and you don't answer my question. You just get lost. You just go away from here. Why wilt thou ever scare me with thy tears and make me tremble lest a saying learned? And now he says, you only have tears in your eyes. And when I see those tears in your eyes, I get scared. Okay, because it reminds me of a very famous saying which people used to talk about. And what is that saying? In days far off on the dark earth. Dark earth. He is referring to dark earth because he has been living forever. Now he wants to get rid of this earth. He wants to get rid of this world. So he says these people, they used to say that gods themselves cannot recall their gifts. Okay, that gods themselves, they cannot take back their gifts. And the tears in your eyes remind me of this saying. That means there is something wrong. That means you cannot take back your gift. Now he's doubtful. That is why she has tears in her eyes. So the next, I me, with what another heart and days far off, with what other eyes I used to watch. So again, he is remembering about his past days here. Okay. So he's like constantly switching present, past. Okay. So he's coming to the present. He's feeling very sad about it, depressed about it. Then he's going to the past and he's feeling a little better that how in his past old days he was such a glorious and good looking person and he was so madly and deeply in love with Aurora. I me, with what another heart in days far off, with what other eyes. I had some other heart, another heart. This another heart, many students they get confused कि मैम कोई और होगा. No, this is not koi or, this is he himself. Another heart. Another heart means in his youthful days. Okay. In days far off, in the days of the past, with what other eyes? Right now, his eyes are very old and withered. Those days, young days, he had bright and beautiful eyes. I used to watch. If I be he that watched, the lucid outline forming round thee. So those were different days when I used to wait for you, because that at that time I was young, okay, and I used to be so excited for your arrival. You used to come in all your glory again, and I used to see that how when you used to appear, there used to be a lucid outline. So when she used to come, there used to be an outline of her shape, first of all. So outline forming round thee, saw the dim curls kindle into sunny rings. Now again, her beauty has been described how she used to come. Her curls of hair, it used to get converted into sunny rings, because again, she is the goddess of dawn. Changed with thy mystic change and felt my blood. The whole sky used to change its color by your mystic presence, and felt my blood glow with the glow. My blood, my appearance, my personality used to glow with your glow. Okay, so he's talking about the change which used to come outside, along with the change which used to come inside him when she used to come. Okay, felt my blood glow with the glow that slowly crimsoned all. Crimsoned is that reddish color in the sky which you can see when the sun is about to appear in the sky. Okay, so the sunrise, right? So crimsoned all. Slowly by her presence, everything used to get crimsoned, colored. Thy presence and thy portals while I lay, mouth, forehead, eyelids. So this is a very romantic, appearance over here, romantic lines where he is describing about the romanticization of all that love story and everything. So he says, I used to lie down, and when your rays used to fall upon me. Now, those rays touching his body has been described to kisses. So, mouth, forehead, eyelids growing dewy warm. So when your body receives the warmth, the rays of the sun, you start to feel little warm, right? So that's what he's describing, that I used to lie when your rays used to fall upon me. My body used to grow dewy warm with kisses balmier than half opening buds. So that he's comparing to her kisses. Balmier means softer than the half opening buds, okay, of April, springtime, flowers, when the flowers they bloom. Okay, so April, and could hear the lips that kissed, whispering I knew not what of wild and sweet, like that strange song I heard Apollo sing. So he says, your lips used to whisper, okay, and now that whispering he compares to some other song. Which song? Apollo's song. Apollo is another mythological character, and he was the god of music and also the god of sun, the sun god. So Apollo was the one who had built the city of Troy with his music. Okay, and like I told you, Tithonus was the prince of Troy. So he says that this god of music, Apollo, when he was building Troy, he was singing this beautiful music. And when your lips whisper, I get reminded of the same music. This is very little complicated to understand. So here, first of all, he says, your rays fall upon my body, and that he compares to kisses. Kisses balmier than half, balmier means softer, than half opening buds of April, could hear the lips that kissed. And he says, I could also hear your lips whisper. And that whispering of Aurora's lips he compares to the song sung by Apollo when he was building the city of Troy. While Ilion here refers to the city of Troy, like a mist rose into towers. So when he was raising those towers, the strong fortified walls of Troy, that time he was singing a song, and Aurora's voice has been compared to this song. I hope that I have been able to make some sense till here. And now we move on towards the last stanza. Yet hold me not forever in that. So abhi wo past mein gaya tha, now he comes back to the present. Okay, so past he was remembering about all the romantic days with Aurora, but now he switches. He comes back to the present and he says, please don't hold me here forever. Yet hold me not forever in thy east. Do not hold me here forever. Now just let me go. How can my nature longer mix with thine? How can my nature mix with yours? I'm getting older day by day. I'm getting withered, I'm getting wasted. You are still young and beautiful. Okay. Coldly thy rosy shadows bathe me. Cold are all thy lights, and cold my wrinkled feet. Very important. In the previous stanza, he says that when he was young, and when Aurora's sun rays used to fall upon his body, he used to have that dewy, warm feeling. He used to feel good about it. Now, when Aurora comes, And now, when her rays fall upon his body, there is no feeling of warmth. Now he feels cold, he feels lifeless, he feels dead. Okay, now the effect of the rays are no more the same. Okay, coldly thy rosy shadows bathe me. Cold are all thy lights. He says, now all your lights and rays are, they're completely useless now. And cold my wrinkled feet, again a sign of his old age, upon thy glimmering thresholds, glimmering, shining thresholds from where she used to come, when the steam floats up from those dim fields about the homes. And now when he looks around, he looks at other human beings, he feels very unlucky. He feels how lucky are these people who are living right now because they have the powers to die. Okay, dim fields about the homes of happy men that have the power to die. Look at how he's describing those men, happy men. Why happy? Because they have the power to die. And grassy barrows of the happier dead. Okay, and these people who are already dead, they are happier because now they don't have to wait for death anymore. They are even luckier. Okay, so they are even happier, they are even luckier. Release me and restore me to the ground. Alliteration can be seen over here. Release me, restore me. Release me, restore me to the ground. First of all, you release me of your blessing, and then restore me to the ground so that I can die and get buried underneath the soil. Thou seest all things, thou wilt see my grave. You can see all the things, and now you see my grave also by taking back your blessing. Thou wilt renew thy beauty morn by morn. Tumhara kya hai? You can renew your beauty every morning. Okay, so he says, you renew, you refashion, you get rejuvenated every morning, and you get more beautiful day by day. I, earth in earth, and I get withered away day by day. Okay, I, earth in earth, forget these empty courts. Okay, I want to forget about all these empty courts and thee returning on thy silver wheels. This is what happens every day, that you get beautiful day by day, you get younger day by day. And what happens to me? I, earth in earth, I get older day by day. Okay, and I roam about in these empty courts. And what happens to you? I ask you the same question every day. I make the same request to you every day, but what do? You return on your silver wheels back behind the horizons of the sky. Okay, so this is how it ends. It ends with a lot of frustration, as we can see in his voice. Okay, so it starts with comparison and it ends, then it kind of progresses with that feeling of guilt, remorse, okay, nostalgia, where he goes back to his past old days, those romanticization of lines, as you can see very well. Then how it ends with a lot of frustration. Okay, so this is what it is all about, Tithonus. And the themes, as we can see very well, that we talk about life and death, we talk about mortality, immortality. Then we also, see, how there's this contrast between, there's a contrast which has been shown in so many things. Like in the first stanza, there's a lot of contrast between his life and nature. Then in the second stanza, we can see very well that how he goes back, contrast between his present days and his past days, okay, how he was young. Then the personification of time we could see very well. Okay, and that how Aurora's beauty has been described in the second stanza, that third stanza, sorry, very important. Okay, how will thou ever scare me with thy tears? Again, this is also done. Okay, and then again he goes back to the past days, that how he was in love and how he used to behave when he used to desperately wait for her arrival. And the last is, again, he compares his life to the rest of the happier men. Why are they happy? Because they have the power to die. Okay, so these were all the important points. I hope that I've been able to cover all the nuances of the poem. And in the next video, I'll be sharing all the important and the competency based questions from this topic. Till then, see you. Bye bye.